Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. Welcome to the Mangy Monk. The Mangy Monk is going to be the name of our inn that we are going to be playing in the Broken Cask, a game by Derek A. Kamal and illustrated by Claudia Cangini. And this is a solitaire innkeeping game. And the back of the book here says, "Look, boss, Drizella is back at it, and she's already on her fourth one. And the wizards are complaining about the lack of books. And Carmina hasn't shown up. Oh, and the kitchen's on fire." The Broken Cask is a solitaire innkeeping role-playing game. Well, what in the name of the leaky cauldron does that all mean? It means your dining room table covered in papers and charts. It's slinging dice to find out what happens next. It's hoping that the slow coach cook of yours can get the next meal out in time for a hefty tip and wondering who will come through the next door. You play it with paper and pencil and at least one six-sided dice. It may inspire you to imaginative feats and storytelling of your own, or it may just be a good time when you feel like relaxing and playing alone. You will create your inn, an innkeeper persona, hire staff, earn gold, expand your inn, trade at the market, send heroes off an adventure, and so much more. So what Broken Cask is not a tavern tycoon game. You're not really concerned too much about finances and a ledger and accounting and building an empire. It is more of a game, just kind of a storytelling game where you're rolling on a whole bunch of different charts here. And I have printed out the charts. These are available at the website for Shoreless Skies. That is the name of the company who published the game. So you can print out all of your charts that you need there, and you can get a PDF version of the book. I got the book on Amazon. And here you also have your charts here where you're going to keep track of your tavern and the different kinds of inns that it is, a different kind of tavern, the prestige level of your inn, which can attract higher level characters and heroes, your different kinds of rooms that you can upgrade, temporary conditions to keep track of how you can modify your dice rolls going forward. And then you have a page here where you're going to keep track of your innkeeper, and we're going to roll the innkeeper up here. The name of your staff, their conditions. You have regular patrons who can come in and hang out, and they can level up. And then you also have heroes, and heroes you will come into your inn, and then you can hire them to go on quests for you. And then you also have all kinds of different things that you can have in your storage, different kinds of items and weapons and all that kind of stuff. And then on this last page here, we have our special tasks. So these are tasks that we can take. Usually they cost gold, and you can do things like build, you can hire mercenaries, you can influence to raise your tavern's prestige level. You can go shopping. You can send a hero or a mercenary out on a quest. You can prate, which is basically you walk around and brag about your tavern, how awesome it is. You can take an action. So normally in a game, your staff is going to be rolling on their stats to take actions. But once per session, you can actually have your innkeeper take an action. And there's actually some benefits in that. We'll see if we do that on camera. You can train, so you can train up your staff to improve their stats, and you can treat a regular. And most of those do cost some amount of gold. And then each game is played in a session. So we're going to have today's session here. And a session can end when you roll on a certain table. So there are game elements, game conditions that can end a session, or you can just choose to end a session. And a session is kind of a undetermined set of time. So you can play an entire season, like summer, winter, fall, that kind of thing. You could say that all of this is happening in the matter of days. It's kind of up to you to determine how long your session is in game time. But the book is pretty good. It's pretty well laid out. It does walk you through all the steps that you are going to need. You have your prologue and introduction, getting ready to play. Then you're going to be creating your world, and then you're going to get into the meat of the game, which is running your inn. And that is mainly based around this events table. So this is a game where you are going to be rolling lots of dice, and then you are going to be consulting lots of charts and see what happens. And I like those kinds of games. And so I have a feeling I'm really going to like this game. I'm really excited to play this. So when you're getting ready to play, you have all of your different terminology, which is nice. It's all laid out up front. So pretty easy if you needed to come back to this page right at the beginning of the book to look up any kind of bolded keyword or anything. And this has kind of like all of your crunchy rules around here, kind of like an example of play there. It's telling you what you need, a little bit of introduction. If you are new to solo role playing, kind of talks about journaling or how much you want to journal. This is a game that I don't think needs journaling to be good, but you might get more out of it if you do. And now here we are at creating our world. So this is kind of where the gameplay starts. And the first thing we want to do is in creation. And in creation will take place on a certain number of charts. The first thing we do is we come up with our name. So I've already come up with a name. I chose the name because I liked that name, the Mangy Monk. But there is a whole chart here where you can roll up on your name. So you could roll things like, we'll do, the pink is always going to be 10. So we'll do like 54. So you could say the Starry 61, the Starry Star. So, or you could have names like the Goblin Toadstool or the White Monk or the Dour Kobold. All kinds of different names that you can have on your for your inn. And then but I chose the Mangy Monk. That name came to me last night, and I really like that. So the next thing you want to do is you want to find out your location. Where your place is located will have a drastic effect on who shows up, to say nothing of how it will jolt your imagination. Roll here to get an idea of where your inn can be found in the wide world. Okay, so let's see here. We have our location chart here. So we're going to roll 2d6. This is just an adding. All right, so 10. Where are we located? We are over a river. Okay, so we are next to, I'm going to say that our inn is located, just next to a large river. Next to large river. Okay, and now we want to roll on our appearance. This is the interior of any establishment, speaks to its quality. What does yours look like? The options presented on this table are intentionally broad, meant to provoke a general aesthetic rather than a vivid portrait of your space. So here we have our appearance table, and that is going to be a 2d6 roll. Okay, so 9. All right, so what do we have here? Olive-stained birch panels, cushioned furniture, and paintings. So I'm going to say it's kind of it's one of those inns, one of those taverns that is dark, wood, lots of wood paneling, and it has comfortable booths. Okay, so that gives us a general look of our inn or our tavern. Next is the type. An inn is just an inn, or a tavern is just a tavern, except when it's not. Folks show up, all kinds of folks, and innkeepers can have their own agendas. What kind of things go on in your inn? Conjoined with a general sense of operations is the type of guest. This will come into play when you start attracting regular patrons to your pub. If you don't like your options, come up with your own. Okay, so now we're going to roll on our type here, and we're going to roll 2d6 to see what type of inn, tavern, pub we have here. What type of establishment is the Mangy Monk? And we have 4. Okay, so it is a syndicate hideout. Interesting. Okay. Syndicate hideout. So you could come up with an idea here. Do I, as the innkeeper, am I aware of this? Possibly, I'm not sure. Am I a participant? Do I allow it? And am I begrudgingly allowing it? Maybe we're going to have to kick out the syndicate. So that could be kind of an ongoing story that you develop as you develop your inn. The next thing you want to do is you want to determine your main guest type. So who are the kinds of people who mainly come into this tavern? And that is an 8. Merchants and traders. Okay, so the guest type, lots of merchants and traders will be coming into our inn. Merchants and traders. And now we want to find out our signature drink. Okay, signature drink here is a 9. A chai Bock beer. Okay, so a Bock beer with chai. I'm going to call that the spicy monk. Or how about the spicy Trappist? Yeah, that's our signature drink here. We're known for our chai spiced ales here. Spicy Trappist. All right, our signature meal. This is what everybody comes to eat. Is a 10. Moon goat shawarma. All right, moon goat shawarma. Some nice wraps, some Euro style food here. Okay, what kind of entertainment? So these are kind of entertainments and distractions that often happen at our inn, at our tavern, at the Mangy Monk Inn. It's a 1. Music, bards and bands. Okay, so we have live music. I'm going to say that it is usually quiet music. I don't like going to bars when the music is super loud and people can't talk. So this is kind of like it's a new agey style of music that is being played. Okay, so unique services. Let's see what kind of unique services the Mangy Monk offers. 3. Theme dinners for all occasions. Okay, so we are good at putting on themed dinners. Not quite sure how to incorporate that yet. And now let's see what anomalies are present at the Mangy Monk. 6. Kegs have to be switched constantly to confuse invisible thieves. Okay, so maybe some of the worst members of the crime syndicate are always trying to steal my casks of the spicy Trappist. All right, so invisible thieves stealing casks. And finally, let's see what our pet is, what the kind of like the Mangy Monk's animal mascot is. And that is a 4. We have your friendly pet ocelot is as much of part of the inn as anyone else. Okay, so my pet ocelot, his name will be Monty because that is the name of my dog. All right. So after we've done that, we've established our inn. We are the Mangy Monk. It's next to a large river. It's dark, lots of wood paneling and comfortable booths. A syndicate hangs out here, perhaps a crime element. Typical guests include merchants and traders. Our signature drink is called the Spicy Trappist. The signature meal is moon goat shawarma. Entertainment is live music, but it's quiet. It's more of a peaceful environment. Unique services, themed dinners, anomalies, invisible thieves trying to steal my casks, and pets is my pet ocelot named Monty. So that is the first thing we do. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our innkeeper. And our innkeeper, I'm going to use my standard name that I use a lot, and that is going to be Harlan Peters. I will be male here. So let's see, Harlan Peters, innkeeper. And now we get to roll to figure out our innkeeper. Okay, so let's see. Let's see his race here. Race is a 2d6, and that is a 5. All right, so our innkeeper's race is an elf. I'm gonna say he's half elf. I don't want to be full elf. Okay, so half elf. Clothing. What kind of clothing style do I wear? 2. Old adventurer's garb. Okay, so old adventurer's garb. That checks out with what I had in mind. I'm kind of like an old adventurer who, in his retirement years, has opened up the Mangy Monk. And so let's see about some of my background here. Additional background here is a 9. You left an assassin's guild or another form of organized crime. Hey, that actually works out. So I was an old assassin, and I decided to go straight. So maybe that's why the crime syndicate is hanging out. They think that I'm their friend. Maybe I'm going to turn on them. I'm not really sure. All right, so let's see what kind of ability I might have here. 4. You may act on any cooking task instead of your staff. So I'm a good cook, actually. I always like the I always like the old assassin trope in movies where they're actually like good at something else and they like struggle with that. There seems to be kind of a trope in a lot of Hong Kong movies where somebody's a hitman, but they're also like a good cook, or they're also, a good painter or something. And they always kind of like have to balance that and struggle with that aspect in their life. Okay, so we have our ability there. And now let's see what kind of quirks we have. And that is a 2d6. And that is a 6. Okay, so our quirks. You have a hard time slowing down. Hard time slowing down. Okay, so maybe that is because I was an assassin. I was always on the run, always on the lookout, paranoid, and I have a hard time just kind of like resting because I'm always kind of like looking over my shoulder, making sure that the law isn't after me. And now we have to do our stats. Okay, so our stats here, we have three different stats. We have body, heart, and mind. And these will come into play as we try to accomplish different tasks throughout the game. And so we just do a real simple roll for each one. So we're going to roll for body here. Body 6. Okay, so I would have a +3 to anything that I need to determine with a body stat. My heart stat is a 6. Wow. Okay, +3. Am I going to be a complete Mary Sue here? Let's see what my mind is. 2. No. Okay, so I have a +1 to my mind. And now my starting gold is going to be 4d6. So let's see how much gold I start with. 6, 7, 8. Plus 10 is 18 gold. Okay, so I'm using this plastic gold here from finally getting some use out of what's that game called? That pirate game. Forgot the name of the game. You know, the one that's not very good. I'll remember some straight. What's the name of that game? I can't even see it on my shelves now. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna go. I need to go look at the name of that game because my mind just blanked. That's right. Skull Tales. Skull Tales. So we're gonna. How did I forget the name of Skull Tales? But we're gonna say that the gold is 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. So we have 18 gold here. And then the gems that are in there, those are going to be worth 50 if we ever need more than that. Okay, so we have our innkeeper. Our innkeeper there is Harlan Peters, an old assassin. He wears old adventurer's garbs. He's half elf. He's a good cook, so he can take cooking actions. He has a hard time slowing down. His body is +3, his heart is +3, and his mind is a +1. So the next thing we need to do is we need to determine our innkeeper creation, background stats. So you've been playing. So you play with 2 staff that you can use. Are they your only employees? I don't know. That's really up to you. Likely you have some other help, but you don't get to roll dice for them yet. For now, let's find out about the 2 who are working for you at present. So maybe these were 2 of some of my old assassin friends who I've brought in so they can also go straight with me, get them out of the life of crime, perhaps. And let's see what their name and race are. So you will use the same name and race table that we used when you make your innkeeper. Okay, so let's go back to their name. So my first staff is named 3 and 3. Oh, and that should be a D. So let's see, 14 and 36. Odo, okay, cool. Deep Space Nine there. Odo 36. Odo Taja. Okay, so Odo Taja or Taha. Okay, my second staff's name is going to be 66. So one eye, or Oelia 61. Oelia Wintermind. Sounds exotic there. Wintermind. Okay, so now we need to determine their role. So I need to find the role chart here. Role. Now here we must decide what is this the staff member's specialty is. Tied to each role or class is a set of stats of what they're good at and their starting morale. This is how long they'll stay in play. Roll on the staff table on page 56 and write all of these down. So let me turn to page 56 here. Okay, so here we have our roll, and we have our different heroes. So heroes, we roll a class when we have a hero come in, but anybody else who comes in to work for us is just going to be on the staff roll table, and that's going to be a 2d6. So let's see what Odo is. 11, or 2, I should say. Odo is an alchemist. Okay, an alchemist, that makes really good sense. He's probably also he's probably like my bartender. I guess there is a bartender here, but I think an alchemist would actually be a pretty good bartender. So he's happy to mix up the drinks there. A good brewer, probably. And we need to write up his race and appearance. We'll do that in just a minute. Let's see what Oelia's role is here. I'm going to re-roll that. 5. A brewer. Okay, so we have an alchemist and brewer. So these two really work well together to create interesting drinks, I think. All right, so now let's see what their appearance is like here. Where is my... There we go. Oh, that's the bartender's appearance. Or the actual bar. Let's see, character creation tables. Here we go. Innkeeping clothing. Okay, let's see what the clothing is like here. Oh, we forgot to write down their stats. Okay, alchemist. So an alchemist has a -1 to body. Okay, so -1 to body. Heart, they have a 0. And mind, they have a +2. Okay, and a brewer has 1 -1 1. 1 -1 1. Okay, the alchemist has 2 morale, and a brewer has 1 morale. And then here we can keep track of their experience and also the different conditions that they might have, such as becoming exhausted, poisoned, ensorcelled, or sick. And that can have an impact on the on how often you can use their skills to do tasks throughout the game. I think their appearances, we're just going to have them both be, I'm going to have them both be human. And I'm not so much concerned about their appearance right now. If that comes into play, then we can do that later. So we have established our inn, the Mangy Monk. We have established Harlan Peters, who is the owner. And we have established our starting 2 staff, Odo Taha and Oelia Wintermind. And now we're at actually running our inn. And now we're at the beginning of our session. Okay. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to set the scene. And to set the scene is kind of, we're setting up what's going on in the outside world here. And so we have our session log here. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to roll to see what the season is. So we're going to flip over here. Okay, so here we go. Tables for setting the scene. Okay, so let's see what season we're starting in. We've been open for a little while, not a long time. We're kind of a newer inn. And it is right now, it is a spring. Snow melts and feeds the rivers of the land. Okay, so the river that our inn is next to is kind of rushing right now, and new blooms spring forth. Okay, so we are now in spring at this session, and let's see what the spring weather is like in this world where we are. And the spring weather is extremely hot. Okay, so we're going to say it's very hot. So people are going to be coming in for some ice cold beverages for sure. And now let's see what the mood is around where we are. The mood 3. It has been loud and bustling of late. Many folks dance and sing and toast. Take 1 H going forward. Okay, so that is a hero roll. Actually, we're going to skip mood for now because that's not actually going to come into play. What I meant to roll on for now is the behind the scenes. Since your last session, okay, now that is rolled in between sessions. So what we want to do here is our story thread. This is going to give us maybe a little bit of background into the world, into what is going on here. So mood and behind the scenes, we will roll in between sessions. But 7. Okay, relatives or friends of a staff member are visiting and making a real fuss. Okay, let's say that Odo's let's say that we're just going to write Odo's ex-wife is visiting. If that can come into play, if we can work that into a prompt somehow, we can revisit that. But we're not absolutely tied to that. That'll just be something that maybe can trigger a story idea. And so the first thing you want to do once you have all of this established is this is kind of where the game starts. So you can do tasks. You can have your innkeeper during one session can go on go on a roll, can roll for something specifically. You can spend money to do one of these special tasks, or the main thing you're going to do is you're going to be rolling on the events chart. And the events chart is kind of just where the bulk of the game plays. And that's here. So from 2 to 12, you have a monster attack, a special event. You can make a brewing order, a service order, a common guest could come in. You have to do maybe a cleaning task, gardening, a cooking order, a troublesome guest, or a rare guest. So our first roll here, we're just going to see, what happens to us while on our this Monday here. Let's see here. 6. Okay, so we have our first common guest. So our first common guest is coming into the Mangy monk. So a common guest here. You know, they don't tip quite as well, but they're down for a good time. These are your average patrons, the farmers and the crafters and travelers popping in for a rest and a beer in the cozy common room. So there's a little sub rule about regulars. If you hit on any of these tasks, so hit is when you roll you're going to roll, it's going to give you a target. And if you make a hit, if you roll on any of these tasks, you have the option of trying to make a regular patron. When noted, they can also be brought in as a hero using the same rule. After a successful task, roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, they have business elsewhere. Sorry. But if the die shows 3 to 6, they become level 1 regulars. Roll for their race and name and then add them to your log. Okay. So let's see, we're going to roll a d6 and we're going to see what kind of regular patron has come in for service today on this hot day to get a nice icy nice icy mug of the spicy Trappist, and that is a 3. So a townsfolk looking for gossip and a good pint. These are the bread and butter of your industry. That's right, the common folk, morons. Thank you, Blazing Saddles. All right, so just treat them right. So we have a task now. We have to make a Mind 4 test. And this Mind 4 test, this is once per session, we can have our innkeeper, we can have Harlan Peters do the test. And there are some benefits to that, because if I fail, I don't have to pay the consequences. But remember, that's only once per session. I can also have my staff do that. And so the staff, I have Odo or Oelia, and I think I'm going to have Odo. He's going to take care of this common guy who has come in, and I'm going to have a +2 to that. So my mind is 4. The test I have to take is an M4, so I'm going to add 2 to this roll. I have to get a 4 or higher. Ooh, no, fail. Okay, Odo is a little shaky at his customer service. So let's see what happens. The last remark about your wine was a cutting one. Take -1 morale. Okay, so Odo's morale went down. That was some bad customer service. Perhaps the common guest, he did not like what Odo recommended him, and so he's not going to be coming back to the Mangy monk. All right, so let's see what happens next here. A 12. All right, a rare guest comes in. Okay, we are in rarefied air here. Hopefully we don't screw up this one. I might want to have Harlan Peters take this one, but let's see here. A rare guest. So on this hot day next to the river, maybe a skiff, a boat has pulled in, and off comes, every so often, a truly special person arrives. When you roll on the table, add your prestige level. The more prestige, the more interesting guests you will attract. Our prestige right now is, we're at level 0. So as our prestige goes up, we can go up in our prestige level. We can become a local favorite, well known. region's finest, world famous, or a legendary tavern. Inn at the last home, something like that. So let's see who our rare guest is. 1. A traveling hero bursts through the door with a flourish. All right, so we have a B3 task. Roll tips or make them a level 2 hero. Or we have to lose morale or give him a refund. Okay, so I want this level hero. I want this hero to be welcome into my tavern, to possibly stay here and become, this would be his favorite spot. So I am going to have Harlan Peters do this role. And this was a body 3 check. So I get to add 3 to this. 8. All right. So I totally make this Harlan Peters. Maybe this is like an old mercenary, an old hero that Harlan Peters knew in his old days. And they embrace each other. And Harlan Peters is like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. Let's see. What is his name? Let's roll on this random name here. What is this hero's name? I'm just going to roll a first name here. This is a hero with one name only, and he is 23. He is simply known as Lark. All right, so Lark he was also a half-elf. Back from Harlan's old days, this nostalgic visit. And now let's see what kind of hero he is. Okay, so what kind of class was Lark here? 9. A hedge mage. Okay. Hedge mage. And he is a level 2 hero. All right, so now we have a level 2 hero. So now we can actually send them out on a quest if we want to. And let's do that. Let's see what happens on a quest. So on a quest, you have to pay 3 gold. Because you have to kind of invest in your heroes. You have to become kind of a patron of the hero here. So let's see here. Let's find questing here. Okay, so questing. Select a hero. Heroes are a rare and strange breed, setting off into the blue on mad adventures. They are slightly different from stats because instead of stats, they just use their level as to overcome any challenges. So Lark is a level 2 hedge mage. And the first thing we have to do is we do have to pay them 3 gold to go on that quest. Okay, so we're going to do that. Okay, and heroes will come back. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we have to see what kind of quest they are going to go on. And we're going to roll a d6 plus the level. So we're going to roll a d6 plus 2 to see where Lark is going. And Lark is going to 2 plus 2 is 4. Lark is going to the Quad Spear Lake. Okay, so what is Lark going to do at the Quad Spear Lake? Let's find that here. Zinco C, Quad Spear Lake. Beautiful Quad Spear Lake, called so for the 4 massive spears sticking out of its center, also known as the best place for teenagers to neck. Okay, so maybe the river is coming off of Quad Spear Lake. So Lark goes up to Quad Spear Lake, and let's see what he needs to do here. 3. Drowned water rats. Task equals a level plus a d6. Before combat, roll to determine the size of the pack. That is its level. If I hit, I get to mark 2 XP and then roll for some loot. Okay, so level equals 1d6. So let's see how many of these drowned water rats are around Quad Spear Lake here. 2. Okay, so we need to hit a 2 or higher. My level is 2, so we don't even really need to roll. So there we go. Lark has taken care of the drowned water rats at the Quad Spear Lake. And now let's see what kind of loot he has brought back for me. Because I invested in his trip, his quest here. So I'm going to roll 2d6. I rolled a 5. Okay, a 5 here. Oh, no treasure, but you find an interesting ingredient. Roll on the exotic materials. Okay, so something growing around the lake here, Quad Spear Lake. And Lark finds for me, he finds a steel tree bark. Spend any of these to flip after related task or table you choose. Okay, so flipping, what that means is we found this item that I can spend in order to flip the die to its other side. So that'll give me a chance to manipulate the die there. And so we found, what was that we found? Steel tree bark. So I can flip when I'm in an overland. Okay, so that'll give me a chance to manipulate the dice. I would have really liked to have found some gold on that quest, because I would like to build out my my tavern. But yeah, so I think that is going to be the end of this session, and we're going to continue the session at another time. But there are all kinds of different things that you can do in this game, as such as having rare guests, troublesome guests. You have a hated restaurant critic can come in. You can have to cook different things to where you can use your cooking power, so you can use your staff to cook up a special order for somebody. Maybe some trouble happens. You have a broken item, or a bar fight breaks out. After a day of servicing, you might have to do some cleaning or maybe some gardening, keep up your landscape around. And generally, you're just going to be having guests come in, come out, rolling on tables, and determining what is happening at the Broken Cask game, or I should say at the Mangy Monk. I really like this. This is kind of like the exact kind of game that I am into right now. And I think I'm going to play off camera for a while, and then we'll come back and I'll do kind of like a recap of some other things that have happened at the Mangy Monk. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.